You're welcome to Afri News channel. Before I show you another shocking video on US election fraud, I just want to ask, where is the world heading to? Because with the desperation of those, behind, those that perpetrated the fraud in the US presidential election, I'm beginning to think it's like some people want to just impose themselves and rule and finish the unfinished satanic agenda and create a new world order. But I know God will not allow that. I am very much interested in this very US election because whatever that happens in US goes a long way to affect the life of a common man. Every common man in the street in every other country across the world. That is why you have to be interested in it, because the media, especially the big networks, the big media networks have been bought over. Several times we have seen Republican Party members trying to be granted interview, and all of a sudden they will just call them off the camera, call them off on the microphone. They will not be allowed to tell the world what is actually happening. Now, when I said there, I mean most especially the Fox News and the CNN. There is no objectivity in their reportage, and besides, they're not even reporting the Republicans' part of the story at all. All they keep saying is that it's an unsubstantiated allegation, but they have not digged into it. They have not conducted any investigation on themselves. And there are allegations here and there, but they are denying it. They are trying to blackmail Trump and blackmail the Republicans. I suspect a desperation of some evil people behind the fraud to come and impose themselves and finish their unfinished agenda. And that will not be healthy to everybody, especially the US citizens. 60% of ballots has the same signatures. 35 ballots have no voter record, but still counted. Then 50 ballots were run multiple times to the tabulation machine. All of those things are geared towards committing voter fraud, election fraud, making sure that one person is out-rigged, or is rigged out rather, because since they are not alleging, we want to believe it's only Democrat that rigged. And this is very, very bad. This is not healthy to US because they are the biggest democracy in the world today. Among other ones, 11,000 voter fraud evidence. 11,000, over 11,000, and over 500, reports of, affidavits, over 500 affidavits of the testifying witnesses. They've collected over 5,000, they've signed over 5,000 affidavits of the testifying witnesses. Most of those witnesses come from Democrats. Most of them are members of Democrats. So, one thing that baffles me is the silence of the big media networks. They have been bought over. That is why I keep asking, where is the world headed to? Please, before you watch the video, I would like you to subscribe. Smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell. Please, I have been posting, update videos concerning this US election to keep you abreast of it, and again, help me grow this channel. God bless you as you watch.
Take a look at this headline. RNC Chair Ronna McDaniel says she has 500 sworn affidavits on 11,000 incidents of voter fraud. That is quite a headline. Now, they report, Cassandra Fairbanks reports that the Republican National Committee Chair Ronna McDaniel says she's got 500 sworn affidavits that allege 11,000 incidents of voter fraud. She discussed some of those incidents during an appearance on Hannity, and she said, quote, "It's been rigged from the beginning." Those are her words. Watch.
Yeah, this is where you saw Politico put out a poll that 70% of Republicans don't have faith in the results of this election right now. And this is why. It's been rigged from the beginning. Rigged from the laws that were being passed in the name of COVID to create a porous election. Rigged in the sense that they kicked Republicans out of poll watching and observing. Why do you do that if you have nothing to hide? And now you have a media that's rigging it again by saying, we're not going to even listen to these stories. We're not even going to validate the 11,000 incident reports that we have, the 500 affidavits we have across these states, people testifying under oath how they were disenfranchised from this problem. That's the problem. And the other thing is, it is stealing. When you validate a vote that shouldn't be in, you are stealing from a voter that voted legally. So when you see these people in Detroit saying, we saw batches of votes that were invalidated, they had the wrong name, they didn't live there, they weren't a resident, they were deceased, and then you put them back in the pile of valid votes, which is what some of these affidavits maintain, that is stealing. You are stealing from people who are voting legally. And the media, right now, by refusing to report on this, is stealing our faith in the election process. Tell the story. Talk about the people who are being disenfranchised. People across this country deserve to have election integrity, faith in our election system, and believe that there is election integrity. And that's why the RNC is going to pursue this to the very end. We can never let this happen again.
You said 11,000.
So think about what she's saying. This is all about election integrity. If Biden won fair and square, so be it. Let it be. Let the cards fall. Let the votes be counted. That's very simple. And if they don't, then the future elections will always be called into question. Now let's see what Hannity says here.
1,000 incident reports. Explain that.
11,000. So 11,000 people have come forward and said, or incidents of they were at a poll site and these things. So we vet them. We get statements from them, and then we put it in front of the attorneys, and then we get affidavits. It is a long process. And remember, just as Ryan said, the canvasses aren't even done right now. So during the canvass process in Detroit alone, we are coming across absentee ballots that were cast that have no address, that don't correlate with a precinct. So these are things that we're discovering the more we go. We don't even have all the information. The data teams haven't been able to go in and analyze the software. That's why these subpoenas are so important. So it is a long process, and people need to be patient. And the media keeps saying, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Because they're not giving us time to show it. But even the evidence we're putting forward, they're deciding, oh, we're not going to report it, or we're going to break away from press conferences.
So it's interesting to see that Ronna McDaniel's on Hannity. I saw a tweet earlier that said that it said that Fox News has been told not to have anybody from the Trump team on during the daytime hours. Fox News, the ratings are dropping like a rock. Now, the only times that Fox News is actually still holding the ratings is during Hannity, during Tucker, Laura Ingraham. Those are the only three evening programs that are actually sustaining. The daytime hours, the number of people watching cratering severely. So it's good to see that at least Ronna McDaniel's on with Hannity. Now, the White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, remember, she was censored. She was cut off mid-sentence in the middle of a press conference when she is making the allegations. She said the Trump campaign has evidence proving voting improprieties in the 2020 election, and she held up what she said. You can see right there, 234 pages of sworn affidavits alleging voting irregularities that could sway the presidential election back into President Trump's favor. Watch.
All right, Kayleigh, let's start with you. Explain what those percentages mean, and explain you're in the process of getting these affidavits. You have, for example, you brought a pile of them with you tonight.
That's right. I did, Sean. We keep hearing the drumbeat of where is the evidence? Right here, Sean. 234 pages of sworn affidavits. These are real people, real allegations, signed with notaries who are alleging the following, among other contentions. They are alleging, this is one county, Wayne County, Michigan. They are saying that there was a batch of ballots where 60% had the same signature. They are saying that 35 ballots had no voter record, but they were counted anyway, that 50 ballots were run multiple times through a tabulation machine, that one woman said her son was deceased, but nevertheless somehow voted. These are one of many, many allegations in one county, in a county no less, where our poll watchers were in many cases threatened with racial harassment. They were pushed out of the way, and Democrat challengers were handing out documents how to distract GOP challengers. These are real, and anyone who cares about transparency and the integrity of the system should want this to pursue to the discovery phase.
Wow. Wow. That's a bombshell right there. She also said that President Trump has no intention to concede the race, even though calls have been made for him to congratulate Joe Biden.